Welcome to another edition of Anderson's Lodge Tackle Talk. Today we'd like to discuss musky fishing. Great thing about muskies in our area, they're in almost every lake that we fish, from the crystal clear waters of Big Vermilion right to the stained waters of Lac Seul. Now, the first thing you need to do is make sure you have the right rod in your hand. Traditionally, most people use bait casting combinations, but that doesn't mean you have to. For those of you that are more comfortable with spinning combinations, that's definitely fine. Now, you're going to want to start with a longer rod, 7'6" to 8 foot, medium heavy to heavy action if you're using spinning, and then your spinning reel, you're definitely going to want around a 4,000 or a 40 or 3,500 series reel. Make sure it has a great brake system, great drag system for fighting those huge fish. Now, most of our customers and our staff use the traditional bait casting combination. Now, with those rods, you definitely want to start again with the 7'6". You can get away with 7, but definitely 7'6" up to 9 foot rod. Now, the other option is the bait casting combination. 7 foot rods are your minimum and go right up to 9 foot. You can come in 2-piece up to telescopic even. Now, what we use here with our staff and majority of our customers, these are bait casting combinations. Now, you want a 7 foot rod at minimum, right up to 9 foot, in medium heavy to extra heavy rod, depending on the baits that you're going to throw. Now, you have a couple different options with reels. There are round profile and low profile bait casting reels designed specifically for musky fishing. And what we use here are St. Croix rods and a couple different reels. We use Abu Garcia and Shimano. Shimano Tranks you may have heard of. Abu Garcia, the Ambassador series, is in a round profile. Tricky part with these rods and reels was they're quite long and hard to maneuver in the office. Now, this combination here, nice round reel, easy to hold, easy to throw all day, different kind of brake system and drag system than your regular spinning combination. As you can see, a 1-piece rod here. The difference between low profile and round profile reels, the big thing is hand grip on the rod and reel. So the round profile, a little harder on the hands because it's bigger to hold, so your hands stretch out in a less natural position. And this one here is a Revo Toro Beast. A lower profile reel, easier to hold, and nice thing about this combination here, this rod, telescopic. Great for getting in and out of their airplanes for those of you that are flying into the outposts. So very nice setups. You don't have to break the bank to get started on musky fishing. Next thing you want to do is pair the right line with those reels. Now, I recommend a minimum of 50-pound braid right up to 80-pound braid. And we're talking super braids here. The Power Pro Slick series here, we like to use different colors here. We're using primarily stained waters, so we're going to use darker lines that blend in with that background. This 65-pound braid is a great starter line. You could go as low as 50, but definitely 65 because we're looking for trophy fish. Your other option is traditional Power Pro, and this one here is 80-pound. It's a little thicker. This is a little darker, green color. Again, works well in our stained waters, and very heavy duty. You're not going to lose a fish because of this line being too weak. Next thing you want to do is you always have to use leaders. A couple different leader options here when you're musky fishing. Traditional leader that you're going to use for most of the baits you're going to throw, more than likely, is a fluorocarbon. And now you want to up that poundage, make sure it's strong. This one here we're selling is a 150-pound, 18-inch fluorocarbon leader. 18 inches is great. Is it necessary for the big fish? Maybe, maybe not. There's a good conversation for 12-inch, 100-pound fluorocarbon leaders. being easier to use for boat side maneuvers. We'll get into that in a video down the line. Another option to use is the jerkbait leader. Now these are wired stainless steel leaders. You can see quite rigid as opposed to the fluorocarbon, and use these on jerkbaits. Makes it a lot easier for you. Jerkbaits aren't going to get tangled up. The leader isn't going to roll up and get tangled on the hooks of the jerkbait, hence the straight wire leader. Now that you've got your line, your rod, your reel, your leaders, what's next? What are you going to put on the end of that line? Well, the best searcher bait for muskies out there is definitely the bucktail. Everyone and their sister makes a different brand of bucktail. The thing that sets them apart is probably the person that uses it. Great thing about these bucktails, we've got twin blades, you've got 2 hooks in case the muskies hit short or deep, and they're easy to throw. These blades aren't too big. Some people say you need to have size 10 blades. Now that's a little crazy. The average fisherman is not going to be able to throw that for very long unless you have arms like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Great bait, great for searching out muskies. If you don't know where they are, you're on some new water, use a bucktail, you'll find some fish. Next option, very popular in our area, is topwater. And very easy to throw, the Top Raider. Probably the most famous topwater muskie bait out there. Everyone should have at least one of these in their tackle box. So the nice thing about this bait is cast and retrieve. You can go fast, you can go slow, it's up to you. Always looking for that topwater action strike. It is unbelievable. Next up, if the muskies aren't on the surface, aren't chasing your bucktails, you might need to go a little deeper. How do we do that? Crankbaits. There's 100 different crankbaits out there. This is a nice walleye pattern. Perfect, because a great forage base for muskie is walleye. So we use these. Gets down a little deeper, you can cast them, you control them, crank them in, tight wobble, and watch those muskies slam them home. Sometimes the muskies aren't hitting shallow. They're not hitting topwater, not hitting your bucktails, not hitting your crankbaits. What do you gotta do? It's cold front. How are you gonna lure those muskies in? Well, Rapala, X-Rap, Pedo is a great bait for that. It's a hybrid bait. It's got a hard body with a soft plastic tail. Cast it in, twitch it, it suspends, hold it in front of the edge of weed beds, real slow, and try and get those muskies to open those tight mouths. This is a great addition to your muskie arsenal. Now we've covered some baits here. The key when you're traveling for muskies and coming up to these places, you don't need 100 baits. You just need a handful of good quality baits like these in a couple different colors. Go light, go dark, one of each, and you'll have the essentials to get started on a great, successful muskie hunt. Well, thank you for joining us today. Hopefully you're going to check out some of our other videos. Be sure to like and subscribe our channel and click the little bell down in the bottom so you're notified every time we upload another video. Thanks for stopping by.